Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Mr. Ainsworth, and we are going to get in another cool lesson here of how to rapidly multiply by 5. All right, so get ready. Here we go. Now, the very first thing we ought to know is this. Actually, before I get my examples, is that 5, okay? 5, guys, is equal to 10 divided by 2. Haha, 10 divided by 2 is 5. All right, so what you want to do, here's our method here, is we want to first divide by 2 and then multiply by 10, or vice versa. All right, so here's your method. Let's put that down first. We're going to first divide by 2, okay, because to make the number smaller, then we're going to multiply by 10, which is easy. Okay, so uh, divide by 2, okay, we're going to divide by 2, all right, then, all right, we're going to multiply by 10. So multiply by 10. Basically, just attach a 0 to it, or vice versa. So let's put that in red, okay? Or vice vice versa. That means you change the order. You can multiply by 10 first, then divide by 2. However you want, whatever's easiest for you, depending on the number, okay? All right, so let's get through a couple examples here and show you how to do it other than doing like a 2 by 1 or 3 by 1. So depending on how many digits you're multiplying by. So if you take, let's take something small, okay? 5 times 12. Now everybody knows, not 12, let's make it a little bit more challenging. 24, okay? So instead of doing it the left to right method, okay, there's another way. So first, all right, we're going to divide it by 2. So 24, we're going to take 24 in our mind, divide by 2. All right, that's obviously 12. Secondly, we're going to take that and multiply by 10. So 12 times 10, well, that's 120. Okay, and there is our answer. And we know that's correct because 5 times 20 is 100, 5 times 4 is 20, and 100 plus 20 using the left to right addition method. All right, we have 120. So we have 120 here. Okay, so you divide by 2 and multiply by 10. That's all you have to do. All right, let's do another one. All right, let's do 5 times 36, or 38, excuse me. All right, so first you take 38 divided by 2. All right, half of 30 is 15, half of 8 is 4, 15 4 is 19, so this is 19. I just took half of both. All right, do that in your head. All right, and then secondly, all right, you take 19, all right, times 10, and everybody knows that's 190. All right, you just attach a 0 to it. And if you use the left to right method, 5 times 30 is 150, and 5 times 4, excuse me, that's the answer. 5 times 8 is 40, 150 plus 40 is 190. All right, so the answer is 190 there. It works every single time. Now, if the number's odd, what do? Okay, so let's do another one. Okay, here we go. Let's do 5 times 17, let's say. That's odd. So what do? Mm-hmm. So let's reverse it, okay? So first, multiply by 10. All right, so 17 times 10. Well, that's easy. That's 170. And now you divide by 2. Let's switch the order of the steps, all right? So now you take 170 and divide it by 2 in your head. Well, half of 100 is 50, and half of 70 is 35. So 50 plus 35, I took half of both by looking at it, and you get 85. All right. Half of 180 is 90, and then so it's got to be less than 90, right? So half of 170 is got to be 85, believe it or not. You can do it the other way too. You can take half of 17, which is 8.5, and then multiply by 10. So here's another way to do it. You can take 17, divide that by 2, and you get 8.5. And then you take 8.5 times 10. All right, you get 85. Okay, so there's another way to do it as well. I don't care how you do it, whether you multiply by 10 first, then divide by 2, or divide by 2 first, like I did over here, and then multiply by 10. Whatever's easiest for you. The order doesn't matter, the steps. Order doesn't matter. Okay, in the steps. So you do what's ever easiest for you, so you can do it in your head. And of course, that depends on the numbers and it depends on the person. So go ahead and Just get a lot of practice and work it out. It even works for, 3-digit numbers too, right? So 5 works for anything. So 5 times 120, let's do even example. 5 times 124. Okay, instead of going 5 times 100, 5 times 20, 5 times 4 like I taught you before, let's do a little bit differently. Let's divide it by 2 first. So first step is take 124 divided by 2. Half of 120 is 60, half of 4 is 2, so you get 62. Or you can say half of 100 is 50, half of 24 is 12, 50 and 12 is 62, something like that. And then you got to multiply by 10, right? So second step, you take your answer, 62 times 10. Well, that's just, 620. All right, so this is equal to 620. So it works for 3 by 1s, 4 by 1, it works for anything. All right, so divide by 2 and then multiply by 10. Now, if you are multiplying by 0.5, same thing applies. You just adjust the decimal though. Okay, so let me show you a couple more. So suppose you have something like this. If you have 0.5 times 60, let's say 68, okay? Ignore the decimal temporarily. Okay, so first, divide it by 2. So 68 divided by 2, that's 34. Secondly, okay, you multiply by 10. So 34 times 10 is 340. And then you adjust the decimal. So third, adjust decimal so it makes sense. Okay, so the answer is, let me see, there's one digit to the right, so you got to adjust the decimal, so the answer is 34.0 or just 34. Let's check that. Okay, so 68 times 0.5, boom, all right, 34. That should make sense too, because 0.5 is a half, and a half of 68, ooh, it's 34. Okay, so that's not too bad. Okay, but what if it's 0.05? So, something like that. 0.05 or 500. Oh, let's do 50. Okay, so let's say, I'll just make this stuff up. 50 times 100 and, I don't know, 20, 20, 28. Okay, so here we go. So first, we're going to take the number 128. We're going to ignore the 0 here. All right, take half of that, so divide it by 2. And half of 120 is 60. Half of, let me see, did I do it? No, okay, it's a different number. Good. Half of 120 is 60. Half of 8 is 4, so this is 64. All right, then you multiply by 10. All right, so you take 64 times 10, and you get 640. But it's not 5, okay? It's 50, so you got to multiply by 10 again, or adjust the decimal. So you got to shift it right. So third, this is multiplying by 50, not 10. And of course, 50 is 5 times 10, so you got to multiply by another 10. So you got to adjust the decimal here. So the answer here is actually not 640, but 6,400. All right, so 640 times 10 again is 6,400. Let's check that, okay? So 128 times 50. There you go. Okay, so because of the extra 0 there, so you do 2 regular steps, but since it's 50 and not 5, you got to attach another 0 to it. So you ignore it temporarily, and then you adjust the decimal at the end. All right, so there you go. This is equal to 6,400. Now, if you go times 500, same thing. So one last one. So if you take 500 here times, let's say, I don't know, 97. Here, let's do an odd example again. Okay, so first, you could take half of 97, and if you know that's 48.5, great. If not, you multiply by 10 first, which maybe you guys want to do. So let's multiply by 10 and switch the order of the steps. So it's 97 times 10, that's 970. So I'm going to multiply by 10. Secondly, I'm going to divide by 2. So 970 divided by 2. Okay, let me see, half a thousand is 500, so this is under 500. Or it's 400 something, right? So half of 900 is 450, and half of 70 is 35. So 450 and 35 is 45. So this is 485 here. All right, and then you have to adjust the decimal right here. Okay, there's two zeros. So third, adjust decimal again. So the answer is 48500, so 48,500. And then you check it. So let's do that. So 500 times 97. Okay, 48,500. So 48,500. There you go. That's another way you can multiply by either 5, 50, or 500, or 0.5, 0.05, or 0.005. It doesn't really matter. 2 steps, either divide by 2 and multiply by 10, or times 10 divided by 2, and then adjust the decimal. All right, now as always, you got to try it too. All right, so pass out your activity, get started. This is Mr. Ainsworth. I'll see you in my next lesson. Bye-bye.